Hi, I'm Max Keiser. Welcome to the Keiser Report. I warned you about the black hole of debt. 3 years ago here on the Keiser Report, I warned you that with every new quarter, for every new year, from here to eternity, the too big to fail, too big to jail banks will discover yet another pile of toxic, bogus, and bad debts to transfer to the public balance sheet. There is no alternative. There is no plan B, they claim. For no wealth can escape the black hole of bad banker debts. Over the event horizon we go. Tally-ho! Stacy Herbert?
Max, yes, it's Tina's big black hole, I might add. There is no alternative. Remember, it all started here in the City of London back in the 80s. Margaret Thatcher said there is no alternative to this black hole of debt. Essentially, we must turn over everything to the financial sector.
Yeah, remember that Tina thing she used to say? You know, George Osborne doesn't want to say Tina, does he? There is no alternative. So there is no plan B. We know what you really mean, though. You're channeling Thatcher. You know, we know what that's all about.
Exactly. When they say there's no plan B, what they mean is, Tina, there's no alternative, because that's all we know. This is how we've been indoctrinated, so there's no going back, they say.
Yeah, look at this black hole of debt I brought with me. I mean, oh my God, this is what's happening to... See, this is where it was 2 years ago, and now this is this year, and you see it's growing like this. This is what's devouring the global economy. This is what's killing the global economy as we know it, is that this black hole of debt flying through the financial uniosphere, and the atmosphere is getting bigger and bigger. You see, that's the problem.
Well, it is true, because the more mass that is sucked into a black hole, the bigger it gets and the more dangerous it gets. So UK banks face £60 billion black hole. Britain's banks face a financial black hole of up to £60 billion from regulatory demands, hidden losses, and potential mis-selling costs that threaten to jeopardize future growth. The Bank of England has warned in their financial stability report.
Well, they have a £60 billion black hole. What is a black hole of debt? It's a slush fund. And during the crisis, to resolve the accounting fraud, the central bank has been compliant in allowing for an enormous slush fund to be created with the City of London and global bankers to hide toxic debts. The theory being that, well, someday when the economy starts to grow again, we'll wean this debt back into the economy and nobody will notice. But the economy is not growing, so the black hole of debt is getting bigger. And here's the rub, Stacy, is that the low interest rates that the central bankers claim they are forced to implement due to what they call deflation is causing deflation. Okay, quantitative easing and zero interest rate policies do not fight deflation. They cause deflation. Okay, that's what these central bankers don't understand. They have the sound of one hand clapping. They don't understand the economy. They don't understand that they are causing deflation and simultaneously causing the biggest bond bubble in 300 years in the country of Britain, now trading at a 300-year high. Therefore, the black hole is only going to get bigger.
The article goes on to point out that markets have lost confidence in the banks due to their complex and opaque numbers. This is what the Financial Stability Report says, that it's because of the complex and opaque numbers, not the fact that markets know it's all fraud.
Well, it's a rearguard action, okay? The central banks, Mervyn King and this new Mark Carney, the guy who got hit in the head with too many hockey pucks, like every goalie, I've played hockey for many years, goalies usually have a little brain damage. That's what they're famous for. Mark Carney, incoming Bank of England chairman, he looks like he suffers from a little brain damage, too. Too many hockey pucks to the head. That's a normal goalie thing. They don't understand that they're causing deflation with their rampant low interest rate policies, and they're only making the situation worse.
So in order to recover investors' trust, they say lenders need to set aside capital for expected losses and for potential compensation of fines over customer mis-selling and LIBOR rigging. Again, it's all become fraud. There is no alternative to this fraud, and they just keep on saying, no matter if it's in the U.S. where they're, printing money and having stimulus packages, they claim, or here, the austerity, it's just go into the event horizon, go into the black hole, just keep on heading for it. Maybe we'll hit some sort of singularity and come out the other side into some utopia.
Even the frickin' Tories at the Telegraph are beginning to realize that The only way out of Britain's conundrum is to force a debasement of wages by 30 to 40%. That is going to cause social unrest. That's what they're afraid of, and rightfully so.
Well, we've seen that in Athens and in Greece. So now in this financial stability report, Mervyn King does say, oh, don't worry, we're not going to use any more taxpayer money to bail out these banks, they say. Autumn statement, George Osborne says Plan B would be a complete disaster for Britain. So George Osborne has admitted that tackling Britain's debt mountain will take longer than hoped, but warned that change in course would be a complete disaster. No, this lady's not for turning.
Yeah, as the country takes a swan dive into George Osborne's Plan A hole.
So as we said in the first story, there's a black hole of debt in the banking sector. Around the world, there's a black hole of debt. It's taking over the world. And because of this, we keep on, like some sort of magical, sort of ancient, ritualistic people, we're throwing all of our wealth into this black hole, hoping it doesn't.
Right. That's right. Like they cut the heads off, those ancient Incas bounce down there. It's like, throw our money down into the black pit, into the volcano.
So into this black hole, like spaghetti, that's what they say what happens if you get too near a black hole, you just basically turn into spaghetti. So our global economies and our jobs and our wealth are like spaghetti going into this black hole. And so GDP numbers are always, again, this goes part and parcel with the continuous revelations of yet more bad debts. Well, there's a continuous downgrade of our economies over and over. So this has happened in the UK. Philip Shaw, Investec's chief economist, warned that reduced growth could lead to an £81 billion black hole in Britain's public finances by 2015-16, meaning the government would need to borrow more to plug the revenue shortfall.
Right, so this is becoming a much bigger problem, and once again, the policies that are in place now are creating deflation and expanding the black hole. So they're doing the exact opposite. But not to fret, because here in Britain, they've got guys like Michael Spencer, CEO of ICAP, who's parasitically taking advantage of the black hole by making a market in black hole. Thanks, Michael Spencer. Oh, and by the way, he's quoted in the weekend saying that governments, after all, spend money, they do not make money. No, but they print money, and you make money by making a market in the money that they're printing to cover the black hole that you're encouraging. You gosh darn no good Nick.
So, okay, we have a £60 billion this week anyway, a £60 billion black hole in the banking sector. We have an £81 billion black hole in the government sector. And George Osborne appeared on one of the BBC programs this weekend, Andrew Maguire's show, and he said, it's clearly taking longer to deal with Britain's debt. It's clearly taking longer to recover from the financial crisis than anyone would have hoped. But we've made real progress. To go back to the borrowing and the debt and the spending that Shadow Chancellor Ed Balls represents would be a complete disaster. I mean, they're like mirror black holes. They're each saying our black hole is better than his black hole. Well, he does say there's one way out of this, one of the few ways out of this, and he says that, we just have to go to college, more university, education. This, because we have no alternative, we might as well go to school.
But that's another black hole, because since they introduced a top-up fee, now people don't go to debt, and they got a debt black hole for education. That's wrong, George.
Well, let's look at the event horizon in the student debt market. If you're going to college, you must see this chart of tuition growth versus wage growth. So that black line you see is a 72% growth in student debt. That's 5.6% annually max. The red line going down, 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 down. That's 14.7% decline in wages since 2000, or 1.6% annually.
As I was saying before, wages in this country have to go down another 30%. To square the books on the bailouts for the banks. That's the same across Europe. That's what the austerity in the UK has not even begun yet.
Yeah, and the line going up, the student debt, is like the swan dive, the spaghetti, as I said, into the black hole. This is the no alternative. This is us bailing out the banks. Dive into the black hole. Go past the event horizon.
Yeah, it's more like Reservoir Dogs, when they got that scene where they're pointing guns at each other's head. Mr. Pink and Mr. Blue. These are the competing black holes of debt trying to kill each other. Yeah, and George Osborne is that fat, pokey kid, Chris Penn, is in the movie. He's organizing the Reservoir Dogs to go blow each other's heads off. George Osborne as Chris Penn in Reservoir Dogs, the black hole version.
Now, I did bring up the chaos of Athens as relevant to this black hole of debt. I see you have a headline over there, Max, about Greece.
Oh yeah, talk about Greece. You know, remember when Papandreou, former leader of Greece, canceled the referendum? We said this was after he made a deal with John Paulson, the hedge fund manager, and Lloyd Blankfein. They had a meeting with Papandreou in Greece right before the collapse and before he didn't allow them to have the referendum to vote against the Troika coming in and stealing their country. We said that there was a huge payoff for this. It turns out today, 550 million euros now discovered in Papandreou's mom's account.
Well, again, here you have a black hole of debt in the government finances of Athens, of Greece. And that was caused by the black hole of debt in Goldman Sachs's bank account, in their accounts. So that was Greece's black hole of debt because of Goldman Sachs's black hole of debt. And here Papandreou was saying, there is no alternative, the population of Greeks, all you Greek people, you have to give us your money, you have to have austerity, we have to take all your wealth, put it into this black hole of debt. In the meantime, his money, his wealth was safe in these mountains of Switzerland, his mother's wealth. And, you know, you've seen journalists there in Athens, in Greece, trying to reveal the truth. They wanted to release this Lagarde list. Christine Lagarde of the IMF, from the Troika, has had this list of tax evaders from Switzerland, from Greece, for years. And finally, a journalist released it, and the government of Greece arrested this man. But now it's turned out that allegedly his mother is on this list.
Right. So, as we were saying, when John Paulson made billions attacking Greece, and Papandreou, the payoff allegedly was €500 million to allow Paulson and Lloyd Blankfein to destroy Greece. That was his payoff. As we said at the time was going on, now it's come out that that's what happened. So the people of Greece, they should be rightfully upset because their former leader sold them out for €500 million.
And they're wrong, by the way. There is an alternative.
Yeah, like global insurrection against banker occupation and buying silver, which, by the way, is set to quadruple the next 24 months. All right, Stacy Herbert, thanks so much for being on the Keiser Report.
Thank you, Max.
Stay tuned for the second half. I'll be talking to Naylor-Leyland.